This is where the first iron ship was constructed for the US Navy, here in Greenpoint, New York City. But how did this change the tides of the Civil War?
Right here is where the history was done. January 30th, 1862 was launched into the East River, and everybody thought that it was going to sink because metal ships, they don't float.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So John Ericsson was on the deck of the Monitor defying everybody that this is going to float because he was an engineer. He knew the different types of buoyancy, mathematics, right?
Right.
For engineering. So after it was launched, it came right into the inlet here. There was a pier along here. You could see some remnants of the pier.
Here is a marker telling you about the history that was on this site. This is super important to American history because it really shifted how we defended ourselves, the Union in the North, against the South, and how they maintained a blockade from the South, getting more and more supplies, hence bringing quicker end to the Civil War. Not as quick, but at least it didn't linger on for many more years, which could have been the case if the USS Monitor was not constructed and other similar ships.
When it was launched, it was maybe a quarter of the turret was done. When you see a lot of the woodcuts, Harper's Weekly, they showed a turret on there, but it wasn't fully constructed.
Right.
They didn't have all the plates yet. So when it came into the inlet, that's when they started putting the plates and finishing off the turret. See, the Navy Yard, the connection is they put the ordnance and everything there.
Right.
And they did a sea trial. And then once it was corrected, they had the steering problem. Ericsson had the mechanical thing for the steering. The rudder wasn't working right. They almost hit the Manhattan. So the Navy wanted to correct it, but Ericsson said, "You're not touching my ship."
Exactly.
So then he corrected it, and then they were ready to go off to Hampton Roads. It was commissioned and went to Hampton Roads for the famous Battle of the Ironclads. But they had divers and that ready to go into the water. At that time, they had some apparatus that they could go and try to save anybody that was aboard, and especially Ericsson being on the deck.
Why do you think people should remember the Monitor?
Because it was such a big significance on how the navies were built today.
Yeah.
We went from a wooden sailing ships with battleships like that to actual ships, battleships, and that what you have now in the Navy.
And we need more museums that pay tribute to the industrial history of New York City. New York City was crucial for America's growth, so it's great that a museum is being constructed here in order to pay tribute to that.
Change, of course, the naval history.
Let me know, are you excited to visit this museum eventually? Stay curious, my friends.